Life, my friends, is a lot like the changing seasons. If you've ever observed nature, you've seen how everything has its time to bloom, to grow, and to rest. And so it is with our own lives. Let me share with you 6 important truths we can learn from the seasons of life. In life, we often find ourselves wishing for things to be different. When things are tough, we yearn for the good times to return. And when things are good, we sometimes take them for granted, unaware that they too will eventually change. But the truth is, just like the seasons of nature, every phase of life has its own value, its own lesson to teach. Embracing each season for what it is means recognizing the natural ebb and flow of life and understanding that every phase is necessary for our growth. Just as nature goes through cycles, winter, spring, summer, and fall, our lives are also made up of different stages, each with its own unique purpose. When we face difficult times, we often forget that challenges are just part of the cycle, and that even the toughest seasons have something valuable to offer us. It's easy to get caught up in the desire for change, but when we focus only on what's next, we miss out on the lessons that the current season is offering. For example, think about the winter season. It may feel cold, barren, and slow, but winter is a time of rest and preparation. It's a season where nature takes a break to rejuvenate, and that's what we too must do. Winter teaches us the value of slowing down, reflecting, and recharging. It's not a time to push harder, but to step back and gather our energy. In our own lives, we might feel stuck or frustrated during periods of rest, but it's in these moments that we lay the groundwork for future growth. Just like a tree takes a break from producing leaves, we, too, need moments of quiet reflection to make sure that when it's time to act again, we're ready. Then there's the spring season, full of hope, energy, and new beginnings. After the stillness of winter, spring comes as a breath of fresh air. This is the time for planting seeds, starting new projects, and laying the foundation for what we want to achieve. It's the time when we are full of optimism and potential. But even during this exciting season, there's a reminder. We must still be patient. Seeds take time to grow. There's no rush. We must trust that the work we're putting in now will eventually pay off, and that growth, though slow at first, will come. Summer follows spring and brings with it abundance and vitality. It's the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, to celebrate what you've achieved, and to share your success with others. But summer also teaches us a lesson about balance. Just as the sun can be overwhelming if we're exposed to it too long, success can become just as draining if we don't take care of ourselves. Summer reminds us that while it's important to enjoy the fruits of our labor, we also need to pause and rest. The cycle of growth isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Then comes autumn, a time of reflection, release, and preparation for the next cycle. As the leaves fall, we're reminded of the importance of letting go of what no longer serves us. It's a time to reflect on what we've achieved and to prepare ourselves for the quieter, more introspective times ahead. Autumn teaches us that not everything is meant to last forever, and that's okay. Letting go of old habits, relationships, or mindsets that no longer support our growth is not a failure, but a necessary step in the process of renewal. Each season in life is essential to our personal growth, and embracing each one for what it is allows us to move forward with purpose and clarity. Every stage, whether challenging or joyful, is an opportunity for learning, growth, and transformation. The key is to stop wishing for a different season and to appreciate the one you're in. When you embrace the current phase of your life, no matter how tough it may seem, you will find that it brings you closer to the next stage of success. Life is a cycle, and each season is an integral part of your journey. Preparation is often the unsung hero behind success. It's easy to look at someone who has achieved great things and assume they were just lucky or that success came to them effortlessly. But behind every triumph, there's a story of preparation, of planning, learning, and honing skills long before the moment of opportunity arrived. Preparation is the difference between walking into success and stumbling into it. It's what separates those who are ready from those who are not. When you look at nature, you see that preparation is essential for survival. Trees don't wait until the winter frost hits to prepare for the cold. They begin their preparation months in advance, shedding leaves, storing nutrients, and fortifying themselves for the harsh conditions ahead. Similarly, we can't wait until a challenge presents itself to get ready. Preparation requires foresight, discipline, and a commitment to getting things in order long before the storm hits. One of the most important aspects of preparation is having a clear vision of where you want to go. Without a plan, your efforts can become scattered and unfocused. Think about the farmer who plants a field. He doesn't scatter seeds aimlessly. He knows exactly where to plant them, how deep and how far apart. He prepares the soil, waters the crops, and tends to them consistently, all with one goal in mind: a successful harvest. Similarly, in life, you must have a plan. Without direction, you'll be left wondering why things aren't going the way you want. You need to have a clear destination, but also a roadmap to get there. Another key element of preparation is learning and developing your skills. You cannot expect to succeed if you haven't taken the time to master your craft. The world doesn't reward people for hoping things will work out. It rewards those who show up consistently day after day and put in the effort to improve, whether it's learning new skills, building relationships, or gaining knowledge. Preparation means continually growing and preparing yourself for the challenges ahead. It's the difference between someone who has a basic understanding and someone who is an expert in their field. Furthermore, preparation involves making sure that you have the right resources in place. Think about an athlete preparing for a competition. They don't just train their bodies. They make sure they have the right equipment, the right nutrition, and the right mindset to succeed. You too need to gather the resources you'll need to achieve your goals. This could mean financial resources, emotional support, or even a team of people to help you along the way. Lastly, preparation is about developing resilience. There will be setbacks. There will be times when things don't go according to plan. But if you've prepared yourself mentally and emotionally, you'll be ready to face those challenges head on. Just like a tree that has grown deep roots, preparation strengthens your foundation so that when the storms come, you can stand firm. It gives you the confidence to keep going, even when things seem difficult. Preparation is the foundation upon which success is built. It's the quiet work that happens behind the scenes, the planning and practicing that set the stage for great achievements. When you take the time to prepare, whether for a goal, an opportunity, or a challenge, you position yourself for success. You make sure that when the moment comes, you're not scrambling, but stepping forward with confidence and capability. Preparation is power, and it's something we all have control over. It's the investment we make today that pays off tomorrow. In life, one of the most important truths to understand is that while you can't control the weather, you can control your response to it. The storms, the rain, the sunshine, these are forces beyond your control. No matter how hard you try, you can't change the weather. But what you can control is how you react when life throws challenges your way. Life is unpredictable, and adversity is inevitable. The key is how you handle it. Consider the weather for a moment. There are days when the sky is clear and everything seems perfect, but then, just as easily, a storm can come, darkening the sky and bringing with it difficulties you weren't expecting. These storms can be metaphorical: loss, failure, disappointment, rejection, or setbacks. Just like the weather, these challenges can appear suddenly, without warning, and disrupt the calm. But here's the catch. You can't stop the storm from coming. You can't prevent the rain from falling. What you can do, however, is decide how you respond when it does. Your response is your power. In the same way that you may not be able to control the storm, You have the ability to control your mental and emotional state when it strikes. How you choose to respond will define your experience. Will you let the storm knock you down, or will you stand firm and face it with resilience? The decision is yours. Think about the difference between someone who reacts to adversity with anger and frustration versus someone who meets it with patience and optimism. The first person is caught up in the storm, letting it drag them further down. The second person, though still facing the same storm, has chosen to navigate through it with a sense of calm and control. This response doesn't make the storm disappear, but it does change how they move through it. The way you respond shapes your experience and ultimately determines whether the storm will define you or whether you'll grow stronger because of it. The storms of life often bring with them valuable lessons. They may force you to confront weaknesses you didn't know existed, or they may push you to tap into strength you never knew you had. In every adversity, there is an opportunity for growth. But to see it, you need to respond with the mindset that the situation, while difficult, is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. Your response also affects the people around you. Just like the weather can influence the mood of an entire community, your attitude in times of difficulty can impact those around you. If you meet a storm with optimism and resilience, others are likely to follow your lead. If you meet it with negativity and despair, it can spread like wildfire, affecting your relationships and your environment. In this way, how you handle adversity doesn't just shape your own journey, it can influence the journey of others as well. In the end, life storms are inevitable. You cannot stop them and you cannot control when they come. But you do have control over how you respond. Your response is your power. It's the key to navigating through life's unpredictable weather, to growing stronger in the face of adversity, and to turning challenges into opportunities for transformation. When you learn to control your response, you transform the way you experience the world. The storm may come, but you are the one who decides how you weather it. Growth is a process, and like any process, it requires patience. Too often we want quick results. We see others achieving success, and we desire to reach those same heights as quickly as possible. But the truth is, growth cannot be rushed. It takes time, effort, and a willingness to trust the journey. Just as you can't rush the growth of a tree or the blooming of a flower, you cannot force your personal growth to happen on your own timeline. You must be patient and allow it to unfold naturally. Consider the way nature works. A seed, when planted, doesn't immediately grow into a full-grown tree. It takes time for it to sprout, to establish roots, and to eventually reach its full potential. During this process, the seed isn't just sitting there doing nothing. It's working hard underground, slowly gaining strength and preparing itself for the next stage of growth. You may not see the progress at first, but that doesn't mean the seed isn't growing. It's a silent, patient process. The same is true for us. When we set out to achieve something, whether it's a new goal, a career path, or a personal transformation, we often don't see immediate results. And while this can be frustrating, it's important to understand that this invisible, foundational work is essential. Without it, the visible growth can't happen. Growth requires time to build a solid foundation. Think about the metaphor of building a house. You wouldn't start by putting up walls and a roof without first laying a strong foundation. The foundation is the most important part of the process, and it takes time to pour the concrete, set it, and allow it to cure. Only then can the rest of the house be built. In the same way, your growth begins with building a strong foundation, developing habits, building character, acquiring knowledge, and gaining experience. These things take time, and they don't always show immediate results, but they are necessary steps for long-term success. Patience also allows us to learn from our mistakes. Growth isn't a straight path. It's filled with setbacks, challenges, and failures. The key to growth is not avoiding failure, but using it as a stepping stone. When we approach failure with patience, we see it for what it is, a lesson. It's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned, but if you stay patient and persistent, you'll realize that failure is simply part of the process. You're not failing, you're learning. And each step, whether forward or backward, is helping you get closer to your goal. Moreover, patience and growth fosters resilience. When you allow things to develop in their own time, you build the inner strength to persevere through life's inevitable challenges. If you rush the process, you may find yourself overwhelmed or ill-prepared when obstacles arise. But when you've taken the time to grow at your own pace, you've developed the mental and emotional strength needed to face difficulties head-on. In the end, growth is a journey, not a destination. It's about taking the time to build yourself up, step by step, and allowing the process to unfold. The key to long-lasting success is not rushing, but allowing patience to guide your journey. Trust in the process, and understand that the best things in life, true growth, transformation, and achievement, take time. Be patient, stay committed, and enjoy the journey. It will be worth it. Change is the only constant in life. No matter how much we try to avoid it, fight against it, or pretend it isn't happening, change is always in motion. Whether it's the world around us, the seasons, or our own personal circumstances, change is inevitable. And while many of us resist it, the reality is that embracing change is one of the most powerful things we can do for our personal growth and success. Take a moment to think about the world you live in. Technology, culture, society, everything is constantly evolving. What was relevant yesterday may not be so today. The job you have today may look different in a few years, or it might not even exist at all. Relationships evolve, health changes, and even your own thoughts, beliefs, and desires are in a state of continual flux. No one stays the same forever, and that's a good thing. Change brings the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to evolve into the best version of yourself. One of the biggest obstacles people face in life is the fear of change. We get comfortable, we settle into routines, and we resist stepping outside of what we know. We fear the unknown, and so we cling to what's familiar. But this resistance often leads to stagnation. If we refuse to embrace change, we limit ourselves. Think about a river. A river that doesn't flow, that stays stagnant, becomes polluted and lifeless. The flow of water brings life, and it's the same with change. It's the flow of change that keeps us alive and growing. It's what drives innovation, creativity, and progress. However, change isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable, unsettling, and even painful at times. But it is in those moments of discomfort that we experience some of the most profound growth. Change forces us to adapt, to stretch beyond our current abilities, and to step outside of our comfort zones. It forces us to question old habits, old ways of thinking, and to evolve into something greater. In every phase of life, whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal development, change is happening constantly. The key is learning to navigate it rather than resisting it. Change can bring new opportunities, new perspectives, and new experiences. But to take full advantage of what change has to offer, you must be willing to embrace it with an open mind and an open heart. One of the most important things to remember is that change is often the catalyst for improvement. Think about the way the seasons change. Winter gives way to spring, bringing with it renewal and growth. What seems like an end is really the beginning of something new. Similarly, the challenges and changes you face in life, although difficult in the moment, often lead to the most significant breakthroughs. Without change, you wouldn't grow, you wouldn't learn, and you wouldn't reach your full potential. Ultimately, change is what keeps life interesting, dynamic, and full of possibility. Instead of fearing it, we should learn to welcome it. It's the constant rhythm of life, and in the acceptance of change, we find freedom. By embracing change rather than resisting it, you unlock your ability to thrive in an ever-changing world. Change is not only inevitable, it is essential. And the more we learn to adapt, the more we can shape the future we desire. In the hustle and bustle of life, we often forget the importance of rest and rejuvenation. We live in a world that glorifies constant productivity, where the message is always to do more, achieve more, and keep pushing forward. While hard work and dedication are essential to success, rest and rejuvenation are just as important, if not more so. They are not a sign of weakness or laziness. They are vital components of the journey to long-term growth and fulfillment. Rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Think of it like charging a battery. If you keep using a device without ever giving it time to recharge, it will eventually run out of power and stop functioning. Our minds and bodies work the same way. Without proper rest, we become depleted, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Our ability to focus, be creative, and make decisions suffers. We may become irritable or lose our motivation. In extreme cases, prolonged lack of rest can lead to burnout, which can set us back much further than taking the time to recharge would have. Rest is not a break from progress. It's an essential part of sustaining progress over time. The need for rejuvenation is just as critical. Rejuvenation is about revitalizing our energy, spirit, and enthusiasm for life. It's about taking the time to nurture ourselves, to step away from the daily grind, and reconnect with what truly matters. Rejuvenation can come in many forms, whether it's spending time with loved ones, engaging in a hobby, taking a walk in nature, or simply sitting quietly and reflecting. It's in these moments of rest and rejuvenation that we can regain our perspective and remind ourselves why we do what we do. Rejuvenation allows us to step back from the noise and rediscover our purpose and passion. It's also during these moments of pause that we are able to reflect and gain clarity. When we're constantly moving, we often miss the lessons that life is trying to teach us. But when we rest, we allow ourselves the space to think, to process, and to understand what we've been through. Reflection helps us grow and evolve, giving us the opportunity to adjust our course if needed. It's not just about resting, it's about using that time to connect with our deeper selves, to realign with our values, and to renew our commitment to our goals. In nature, rest is an essential part of the cycle of life. After the intense growth of spring and summer, autumn and winter bring a time of rest and rejuvenation for the earth. This allows the soil to recover, the trees to conserve energy, and everything to prepare for the next cycle of growth. If the earth didn't rest, it couldn't continue to produce the abundance of life we rely on. The same is true for us. If we don't take the time to rest, we become depleted and incapable of producing the results we want. Rest and rejuvenation are not interruptions to the journey. They are the fuel that keeps us moving forward. Rest and rejuvenation are not signs of weakness. They are strategic acts of self-care that empower us to show up fully in our lives. When we take time to rest and recharge, we return to our work, relationships, and goals with renewed vigor, sharper focus, and greater creativity. So instead of viewing rest as a luxury or an indulgence, recognize it as an essential part of your growth and success. Embrace rest and rejuvenation as tools that keep you moving forward, not just in the short term, but throughout the entirety of your journey.